So the other day I was thinking about a particular experience when I was very young, that kind of like points towards the importance of actually learning the right things and moving yourself away from wrong. And particularly experiences, because experiences have a way of ingraining themselves into our mind, and before you know it, you are following something that's not biblical. It is not even right. Like, you can't even justify it. There's no justified reason for following this thing. But because it's an experience, you start to choose the experience over truth. And so this thing happens when I was in around grade 2. But there is another person who comes into the story, and I want to kind of like introduce them earlier on. So when I went to grade 1, I couldn't write. So, and they would give you books in grade 1 in the school that I went, and then they would have you write your name basically on your books. And then, so basically, if there was a teacher for this one, they would come and say, take a book that looks like this and write down. It's a very funny thing when you think of it now. I remember in some of those days when they were doing those things, you end up labeling the wrong book for the wrong thing. Because when you go to get your stationery, they will either give you one choir, and then they will give you maybe 14 72 pages books, and then there was the other one. I can't remember if it was 32. They said the 72 is for notes. This other one is for classworks, and those things. Then they will tell you when a teacher comes to class, he will tell you you're gonna take 172 and 132, and then the choir book was only for maths and stuff like that. Fun times. And so during this period when they were doing that, when I went to school, because I couldn't write, I had to get someone to write for me. And so I asked around, people didn't want to write for me, until one person actually agreed to write for me, and his name was Chipiu. And from that time, I don't even know if he knows the time when we actually met. My first time meeting Chipiu was actually right there in the class, and he was the one who wrote for me. And from that period till date, we were friends. And so this kind of will give you the framing for the second thing, which is when I'm now in grade 2. In grade 2, where the teacher would select a random person to go and throw the bin away, basically, to go and dump the bin. And where we used to dump the bin was a little bit away from all building structures. And it was like a little bit of a dump site. You'd go almost like you're going into the bush and stuff. So one of these days, I was appointed to go and throw away the bin. And so I picked up the bin. It's during the day, yes. But on this day, it was a very misty day. This particular day was very misty. So I go off, and then I dump the bin. So the moment I dump the bin, some very strange appeared right in front. A very weird creature, I could say. Legs all the way, and I could only see up until here. All the way into the trees. Into the trees. I did not stand around to interrogate or to check what it was. I threw the dustbin and I ran back. I threw the bin and I ran back. And now this is the part which is actually very funny about this story. When I ran back, I remember the teacher saying, you have to go get the bin. Where's the bin? Go get the bin. And so I ended up having to go with someone, and Chipiwe was the person I went back with. Okay? And so it's a very weird story. It's a very small little particular experience, but that thing would lead to other things happening after that. For example, a year later, I think between grade 2 and grade 3, my school would start having magicians come to the school. Okay? They would start having magicians come to the school, and I would be very fascinated. Already I was into Chinese movies and all these things of people flying around with flying kicks and all those things. And so now, the first time I saw a magician in this primary school, absolutely fascinated. And I remember he had this trick, particularly where he had a stick which was colored, which had 2 different colors. And he would cover it one way with one color on one side, and when he opens it, the other color will be on the other side, you know? Or you would do something and the colors will not be there. You know, like just very weird type of things like that. And it will fascinate me to a point where I started trying to do that trick, particularly around grade 2 and grade 3. But it wasn't a thing that really stayed with me. This fascination with magic and stuff like that, it didn't really stay. It would reignite later, but it didn't really stay. And this period of after me seeing this, it would now result into me kind of like almost seeing things in the room, like, you know, you're sleeping and maybe the lights are off. I could have sworn there was something in the at the window, or a shadow or something. I could have sworn there was something. Now, to a point where even when I knew there was nothing, I would still look as if there was something, until my eyes will even make up stuff. Until my eyes would even make up stuff out of what I was looking at. Now, this story, the reason why I wanted to tell you this story also was that, funny enough, now that I'm an adult and I'm thinking back and I'm like, whoa, after I saw that thing, all kinds of funny mundane things happened. After I saw that thing, I started to sleepwalk. Yeah, I started to sleepwalk. And the funny thing about that, you know, like I won't remember too many of the dreams, but I can remember about 2 or 3 dreams which I had back then. And one of them, I was lost sleepwalking. In the dream, I was lost while sleepwalking. In the other one, I was called. Someone called me to get up and open the door and go out. And funny enough, in the dream, I actually went out. But in real life, I was still in the house, and my grandmother woke up and said, "Hey, where are you going?" And you know, when a person sleepwalks, you know, our parents didn't really take care. Hey, sleep you. I didn't really take it thingy. I can tell you this. In the dream, I was being called outside. And as a matter of fact, in the dream, I had already gone out to meet this person. So there would be strange people, like people I couldn't directly see and whatnot. And sometimes they'll call me and then they will disappear and all this kind of stuff. Just very weird. I'll have very weird dreams. So that was one of them. Okay, that's just one of them. I remember one particular dream. I was looking into, like, we used to have these 2 huts, one on the other side, one on the other side. And I was looking into the other hut. Okay? And so this hut started looking like it's going distant and it's going dark inside. It's very weird. But those dreams, I did remember. But these dreams came after that one. Another thing happens after seeing that thing. But remember, you see, when you are a child, you don't make the connections. But now, as an adult, I'm like, wait a minute. After I saw that thing, there's all kinds of stuff. That was just weird. I got hit by lightning. Same time, around the same time. You know? But because, of course, nobody would associate it with anything. So so I'm going from sleepwalking, seeing these funny creatures, fascinated with magic, and do you see now? Do you see what's going on here? Seeing all these funny, weird dreams of people calling me and all this type of stuff. It's very weird, dodgy man type of stuff. Very, very, very dodgy stuff. And so, the lightning one was very weird. That was not a dream. That was in real life. We're sitting, it's one of those days, it's heavily raining. It just wha-pa-pa-pa-pa. And it smacks me all over the place. And yeah, the lightning is no joke. Till date, it's almost as if I can remember it. And so, all these events happen. All these strange, weird events. Then, there was a family event from my father's side, not from my family side, where someone was supposed to go. They call it Macho Man. If a person is vendor, they will tell you Macho Man. It's one of these weird, strange practices or thingy. It's cultural. I think it's associated with Ubungom. I can't even remember what it is for. But the person was supposed to go and dance Macho Man. I remember that part very much. And I can tell you this. The whole event, I don't remember. I do not remember the whole event. But I remember one particular thing where this person was said to dance in a room. And in my memory, there was no light in that room. I do not remember that room having light. Maybe they had light. Maybe. But in my memory, I cannot remember. I can remember specifically when the door opened and when people were coming in, when we were already inside and it was dark. Just these weird practices, like this ancestral dancing and what. It's very weird stuff, that stuff. But all these events happen pretty much all in my primary period. All of this happened within a 5 to 6 year period. Hit with lightning, night, what, and all this. This is weird stuff. Now, what I found very interesting is that as I grew, the paranoia didn't stop. The paranoia kind of continued. The paranoia of something is something. It took a very long time for me to really switch off a light and go to sleep. I can remember when I was in high school and someone would call me to come and maybe watch over the house, they are going somewhere or something like that. I would sit next to the window. I wanted to see everything is fine. I saw a shadows. I saw paranoia just continued for a very long time. I had that carried off. Now, what I found very interesting is that when I went into my secondary period, that's when I would start meeting people who were dodgy. It's like really, really dodgy. One particular experience I remember very well was meeting these two guys who wanted to get into Satanism. Yeah, with strong intention. That's a story by itself. and they were researching it and we had met in the internet cafe, and they were very enthusiastic about, they were very excited about it. I'm talking, and I just followed them after I didn't know these guys. We met in the cafe, they were talking about their thing. I'm like, oh, and I happened to have searched that particular topic that they were searching for and stuff, and I laughed. I was like, yeah, you know that thing, man. You know that thing. That's the conversation. We just started talking. And nowadays, we take lightly that you can just Google things here. They have to go to the internet cafe back then and search up all these things. And the funniest thing ever is how that friendship ended. These guys wanted to join. They really wanted to join. What I found very funny is how that friendship ended. It ended because I had met someone. I had met someone who I had met in a pageant. I'd always been interested in the entertainment industry, and so there was a modeling thing, that agency that came to my school, and I was one of the people that joined. And so when we went for the big competitions, I met this guy there, and later on I would meet him while with these guys who were interested in Satanism. And he's like, hey, what are you doing there? We started talking, and I'm like, hey guys, I'll see you guys later. And I never saw those guys ever again. I never saw them again. Couldn't get a hold of them, nothing. And that was the end of that. And I thought this was quite an interesting one, is that for some people, unfortunately, they carry those things, right? They carry these strange experiences all the way towards their adult life. But it's not just carrying them, it's that they then interpret the whole world through them, through these experiences. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. People will see these things and then they will come back and tell us they're a seer. Them they're a prophet. No, you saw a trickster demon. You saw a trickster demon. And that trickster demon was there to cause deception. And now he can use that. He can use this ignorance. Someone tell you, no, me, I'm called. When were you called? They don't exactly have a time frame, because it was something that they saw and they thought, oh, okay, it's not normal that people don't see these things. Then they assigned themselves a title. And so as far as we came into maturity, as far as I came into maturity, for me personally, the one thing that I can tell you is there's a lot of deception. There's a lot of deception, particularly either from occult or from spiritism. The worship of spirits, or acknowledging of spirits. There's a lot of deception in that space. A lot of deception. That's why you hear people come out here, hey, I saw Jesus and Jesus told me this. And you're like, Jesus told you what? Because spiritism, they met another Jesus. It's not Jesus that you know. It's another. Some people come back, they claim they went to hell. No, you went somewhere. It was in hell. Because the experiences that they see, the things that they see, you can hear they don't sound biblical. Now you know. But if you're not informed biblically, it'll just throw you off. Now, do I believe that this stuff the devil could have used for evil? Definitely. Tell you that for sure. The devil could have used all these things that I'm telling you for evil. Could have used that for me to either claim a certain title or some important position or something. He does these things. He plants these things for a reason. He plants these things because he has an intention to paint a person's life a certain way. And for many people, they fall for it. Many people, it's sad. But at the end of the day, people must take accountability for the things that they learn that are not biblical and distance themselves from it. Some do not want to distance themselves. Some still want the association. They like the idea of seeing or seeing the unheard or hearing. They like that whole thing. So because they like that, they can't let it go because it feels like the only thing that's real. It's the deception of the spirits that they have thinking. I can tell you this for sure. Those things were planted for a reason. Those particular experiences, they were very specific. The things I'm telling you, they're very specific experiences. It's not like I saw that thing and then I saw it again, or I saw that thing once. It popped, boom. Hey! I took off. And that one experience led to a whole lot of things. And if you are not careful, you will assign yourself things that are not supposed to be there. So now people start to take those things in their past or in their childhood or whatever. Then they use that to interpret their life. Big mistake. Big mistake. Why? Because there is nothing. What, you think we're going to manage convincing you that no, these things are normal? No, you've told yourself this is special or this means something. It has some serious. No, it's a planting by the devil to cause you to go astray. Watch against it. Sexuality Show with daily Christian commentary videos. Other episodes down to be down in the pinned comments. I hope this video finds you well. And I hope this video informs you to help those people when you hear them. It's a sad thing that a person takes something from their childhood that has no bearing to their adult life, and they interpret everything out of that experience. It's a very terrible thing to do. But there's people that are doing that. We know adults, they live their whole life with that whole mindset. Their whole life is framed around. They saw a ghost. They saw a creature, or they saw something. And little do they know, it was a trickster. A demon was put forward to put these things so that later on you can make of it whatever you want. You listen to them, you'll hear they always have some story in the beginning, some story as their childhood. Some of us had those things. I can't say we all had them, but some of us had those experiences. But we see them for what they are, a deception. A deception. We see them for what they are, the enemy's attempt to draw us away from the right path. I can't tell you how long. I can't tell you how long. I don't even remember. I can't tell you how long the sleepwalking thing was. I can't tell you. But there was a period for that. There was a whole period where that was the case. Just wake up and I'll be at the door. I'll be there opening, and to a point where they even locked and removed the key because I would be up and off to the door. And I can tell you this now. This is the one thing that I never told anyone back then. Is that, but whenever they would, what I can remember telling them was, someone is calling me. You know, and like I said, our parents, you know, they were not careful. They are not seeing, you know, it's a demonic thing, this thing. You know, hey, what are you talking about? You know, they shout. And it's not that. You should be listening and hearing, oh, okay. No. We need to rebuke this. We need to deal with this thing. So they will call. It just never happened. So when you hear people giving these life experiences, talking about these life experiences, let your ears stay alert. Self-upliftment is about to come in. I remember one day I was somewhere and there was a young lady who was talking about a testimony. And I was listening to her. You see what I'm talking about? She had exactly the same thing. She had all these experiences when she was younger. These experiences, she saw this, she saw that, saw this. And then at the end of her discussion with who she was talking with, she turned around, she said, yeah, he's told me that I am special. That was the conclusion. And I remember I wasn't sitting by myself. I was sitting with other people. And everyone just looked at each other and like, oh, Jesus. Trouble. Not that we don't want it to be special. No, it's that these things, they are there for a reason. They are planted for a reason. They bring deception. Self-importance. These things. Because you feel like, yeah, the devil has been attacking me. Yeah, there's many people he's been trying to mark. There's many people. But for me, I just thought it was quite an interesting one on how it wasn't one event. It had a series. You know, up until there was a period where they all stopped. All these things all stopped. And funny enough, those were the days when I started going to church. You know, of course, by then, I wasn't much firm, but I was very dedicated to church. Like I told you earlier on, I was very, very dedicated. I was a very dedicated church person earlier on. When you hear them share their experiences, listen close. You can tell whether that spirit succeeded in implanting falsehood. There will be some element of self that's destructive. You have Joshua, the rapture is around him. You're like, who are you around the rapture? Caesar's whole situation, it's about him. People must... Those type of experiences, it's an implanting. It starts somewhere, either early life or somewhere. Be very careful of those type of planting, because those planting are some of the most dangerous. You can find yourself claiming all kinds of things because of those early plantings that it did. Siriki, other episodes down in the pin comments. I thought that would be an interesting one.